There we go. I think I got it. Hope so anyway. Good morning. Thanks for joining us for our monthly luncheon. Some of you are getting to be pretty regular at this, and you know that we record these, and we'll post it to our YouTube channel for future viewing, our website, and on the social media platforms. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you, please, to mute or silence any of the distracting devices that may be laying around you. And Marla, when she's on here, she on the show usually kind of helps me keep an eye on the chat box, do the best I can to admit folks and recognize your questions, but we'll certainly have time at the end. Thank our speaker today for his flexibility. I believe he was a casualty of either a casualty of the tornado or early on in the pandemic, as we already had him scheduled to speak at Rutland Place. But he's hung in there with us, and with us today is Charles Alexander, and he's the director of the Tennessee Small Business Development Center, which actually has a part-time office available on appointment right here at the chamber office, and that's out of All-State Community College, where he provides one-on-one business coaching, teaches seminars to help entrepreneurs, business owners grow their businesses and even start out their businesses. Working with over 1,000 entrepreneurs has taught him what does and doesn't work in the real world. And now he uses humor, which I can attest to, and I love it, and real world experiences to help educate others. And lastly, and most importantly, he'll tell you he is happily married to his wife, Sarah, and is the proud father of 3 kiddos, Ava, Lily, and Lane. And with us today, Charles Alexander. Good morning, Charles.
Hey, folks. How are you doing today? Smiling, nodding along, and there we go. Thumbs up. Life is great. Well, if it's okay with you fine folks, I'm going to do a little screen share here. Y'all let me know if and when. Whoa. Y'all see my screen. You see it?
You've got a PowerPoint presentation. It looks like ready to launch.
Good deal. I'm hitting slideshow, and it is slowly bumbling to the point where it might actually be a slideshow. Give it a second and let me
Right,
get her warmed up.
While you're doing that, I'll remind folks that we're lucky to have with us today Galen Wilson. She would be standing at the podium along with at the head table if we were at a luncheon, our chair-elect, Lee Campbell. And I think you probably agree with me that those two folks stumbled into what arguably is going to be the most challenging year in the history of not only the chamber, but in many cases your businesses as well. And they have been stalwarts to help lead and guide and direct us through these uncharted waters. And I'm glad that they're here, and I appreciate their support of our program. So,
I like those things in there.
welcome, Lee. And
We'll probably have to take them by the post office and get some more.
hang on, I'll figure out who that is. Bear with me.
Hey, they're headed to the post office, baby. They're getting out and about. Wear a mask.
I'll find out who that was. And
All right. No worries. It's the new world. All right, folks. Quick, and I'll ask here. Has anybody here actually heard of the TSBDC? Smiling, nodding, shaking heads. It's, I'll give you, it's probably the worst mishmash of letters that we could have ever picked out to promote ourselves. But a vowel would have been nice in there. But what we do is pretty simple yet very effective. It's the Tennessee Small Business Development Center. And as Mark pointed out, we've been hustling. We do small business advising, and we even host workshops and have workshops to help small business owners grow and succeed. As you could probably imagine, since March, my life has been quite different. I've been working from home. As you can see, this is not a volunteer state community college where I normally work out of, and I'm not at the chamber office where I visit once a month. And by the way, as Mark pointed out, historically, every second Tuesday, we'll come to Mount Juliet, sit down and do a one-on-one advising session. With that being said, you can still go to the tsbdc.org website, request counseling, and we can either Zoom, email, or phone call, whatever assistance you need, as your time permits. So when I say free, and you guys feel free to chime in there a little bit. What do y'all think of when you hear the word free?
Not worth anything.
There you go. You get what you pay for, right?
Yep.
So people often want to know what the catch is. Why is it free? And I often think of free. Do you guys remember the free CDs you could get if you gave them BMG or Columbia a penny, and they'd give you 12 free CDs? But what they really meant was they're signing you up for a subscription that you could probably never cancel. I ended up getting like 3 of Elton John's greatest hits before I could finally shut them down and get them to quit sending me CDs, which I like Elton John, but not that much. So here's how it's funded. Half of it comes from the Small Business Administration. And I know at this point, you guys have probably heard of the Small Business Administration. That is the part of the federal government designed to help small business owners succeed. Now, who funds the federal government? Anybody? There you go. That's correct. You guys fund it. So, you've already paid for over half the service here, and the other half comes from local and community donors. Now, with that being said, local and community donors means chambers of commerce. It means banks, utility districts, the city governments, county governments, and your city and county government as well. Mount Juliet and Wilson County started supporting monetarily the SBDC so we can keep doing this sort of thing. And last but not least, Vol State gives us some space to hang out in, and they even started kicking in a few bucks as well. The only catch then is I'll send clients a survey. Hey, did you start your business? Did you grow your business? Did you hire people? Did you invest capital? And if they tell me yes, I get to put it in a cute little report like this. And it's all confidential, and we'll show this to all of our stakeholders, where we had 170 people come to workshops and had people, 170 people take advantage of the one-on-one advising. We had several people come to workshops, but most importantly, real economic impact. Last year, we helped to create 81 jobs and over $3 million in capital formation, and helped even 15 businesses launch and get rolling there. Next year's stats, or when I present 2020, will dwarf these numbers. And I don't necessarily think that's a great thing, but it's just a fact of life. The number of people I've met with has already exceeded 170. As in, I worked harder from home than I ever got to work in the office. And I'm not complaining, because, it could be the folks that are emailing or calling me. Their life has been turned upside down way more than mine has. So I'm very empathetic and want to help and support all of these folks the best way humanly possible. So, kind of discuss the elephant in the room. What does small business look like, in the past few months? So, I am trying to see if I can get over here to the chat, which I'm struggling with a little bit. No worries. You guys tell me, though, and you can do it verbally or however. How many of you guys are small business owners in here today? One, any, some, none. Got a thumbs up there, I saw.
I'm looking at the participants, Charles, and 8 or 10, I would say, at least.
8 or 10, sweet.
A couple of
Angela's admitting to it. That's okay. All right, so in March, I'm sent home. It's St. Patrick's Day, and my phone literally rings off the hook. Emails come in nonstop, and I, basically work for 28 straight days, including Good Friday, even a little bit on Easter without taking a day off. And again, I'm not complaining. That's just, it could be much worse. It could have been the people on the other end of the line. But everybody was trying to figure out how to apply for PPP loans and EIDL. EIDL is Economic Injury Disaster Loans. PPP, of course, is the loan you get through your bank to help keep people on payroll, and then at some point can become forgiven. Now, we're past the point where the applications are being taken anymore. And that, God bless, that loan changed in every way, shape, form, or fashion. Whatever I would tell somebody on March 28th was totally different on March 29th. So we kept going through that process, and it finally got solidified. They may decide, they being Congress, may decide to reopen PPP loans, or maybe even do a second round, and maybe you could get a second one. I don't know yet. The forgiveness process, which was supposed to start June 30th, didn't start. The SBA, Congress, Department of Treasury, I think, as I understand, are trying to figure out the easiest way to do it. That is, I think they are leaning toward, and this isn't the SBDC saying this, is Charles Alexander, are probably leaning toward a self-certification process for loans that are like 150,000 and below, meaning that you won't have to jump through every hoop known to mankind, fill out every bit of paperwork, and then turn it into your bank to get that loan forgiven. I think they're going to try to make that idiot proof. And if they do, great. And if they don't, it'll be a little bit of a painful process like it has been up to this point. The idle loans are loans. Those are not forgivable. Those are 30-year loans you can get that are 3.75% interest rate. The first year is deferred, but those are meant to pay the fixed expenses in the meantime while you cannot pay fixed expenses. And they're meant only to pay your fixed expenses and not for growing your business or buying a beach house somewhere. And then now there are also, and I say now, there's also Tax Care Act credits that are meant for you to be able to use on your employees who are unable to return to work. So you guys in Wilson County are a lot like us here in Sumner. We're doing a hybrid schedule, which means a lot of people are almost forced to work from home, or better yet, if they can't work from home because, you know, they work second shift somewhere and they make, or second wouldn't make sense, they work somewhere and make widgets. You know, if you're on the line, you can't do that from home. That person can't return to work in some cases because of COVID. And the CARE Act tax credits are meant for you to be able to continue to pay that person, but then when you do your payroll tax, get reimbursed for them up to a certain amount or the whole amount, depending on what they make. That is a fantastic CPA question going forward. I think I just gave you the gist of what I probably know on it. Now, there's a couple of programs that I was allowed to create. So part of the CARES Act, is that a question? Nah, we just headed back to the post office. No worry. So part of the CARES Act was to give a little bit of additional funding to small business development centers, not for our general operational use, unfortunately. It's for helping you guys to kind of get through this process. What they asked us to do is to basically bring on extra consultants in areas that we weren't experts in that you need help in. So what I did was partnered with 2 businesses, and I'm working on some more, but first and foremost is On Demand Solutions. It's a human resource company in Hendersonville. And if you are hiring or in the process of trying to rehire 2 or 3 or 4, 100 employees, I can connect you with them. And they have a program that is a minimum of $300, but it's not $300 you only pay 10%. So $30. And then $30 for every employee above 10. And again, you still only pay 10%. They help walk you through that entire process, which is fantastic. And that's just not just the rehiring process, but focusing on your employee handbook, what goes in the files is great. And I think if Mark can, he'll get my email out to you guys, and that's something I can help connect you with. The next thing is a marketing course. 100 Cups Consulting now has 100 Cups Academy, which is a 6-week in-depth marketing course that not just covers online stuff, which is of course where everybody's trying to focus in on now, but a wide variety of other ways to generate referrals, focusing on your niche, writing, doing the things that are going to help you grow and succeed your business. We just finished up, or about to finish up that first cohort. And going to start this course all over again on September the 3rd. You can sign up for it on the tsbdc.org website, and it's only $30 to you. It's normally a $300 course. And you'll go through a 6 weeks of hands-on meeting every week. And that's a hands-on virtual meeting every week to learn how to grow your business. And I know you guys can hear that buzzing outside. Of all the times we would never have that, but right now, of course, it kicks in. No worries. So, big questions I've been getting a lot. So what do I do now? And you guys are probably a little bit like me. You're ready to roll with the punches, but after several months of this, the term pivot or the new normal has started to ring a little tone deaf. It gets a little rough hearing that over and over. So what we need to do is to kind of get really practical really quickly. So first and foremost, I tell people, go ahead and reset your goals. That's probably a good mid-year thing to do anyways. Your goals for 2020, you know, if you were able to reach them and you're on track, fantastic, stick with it. But for most of us, you need to take a strong look of how much net revenue do I need to keep the lights on and keep food on the table. Once you figure out what that is, truly figure out how many customers you need and what the average sale is per customer. I know average is a relative term, but there is an average. And once you do that, that kind of refocuses your day, your week, your month on what you need to be doing marketing wise in order to bring those customers in, but your goals. So when we're talking about marketing, you need to get into a process where you really follow up with your leads relentlessly. This is a good idea whether we're quarantining or not. I have a lot of clients of mine. They'll get in leads, follow up with them once, maybe twice, and then no more. The belief is, well, if they didn't want to buy now, I don't want to be a nuisance, and if I keep bothering them, well, then I'll get a bad reputation and I'll never make any sales. And while I don't disagree that, you know, you don't want to bother people, I get that, but it's also an excuse to quit doing the things that we don't like doing. And we don't like following up with somebody, asking them over and over if they're ready to buy. But the average consumer has to hear from you 7 to 12 times before you register with them. It's not because you're unimportant, and it's not because you're not good. It's because they're overwhelmed and distracted with their own life. People are inundated with 5,000 marketing messages a day, and right now more than ever, everybody is stuck in online, on the news, on text threads, on everything, and I'll hit that before I leave too. So you got to keep following up with them. You go into buy or die mode, and people in general, if they are rude to you, it's rare, and B, great. I know I'm not messing with those people. They are not qualified to hang out with me. Next, work on creating your own content, which is another buzzword that I'm already over and have been over for years, but is very true. You need to be able to talk to people, whether it's not just social media or email marketing or Zoom calls, in a way that they understand who you are, why you are different. You need to, you know, it's a great time to reinvent what that is. And by reinvent, or just be authentic to who your customers are, what their issues are, and then how you specifically solve them, not in some, you know, generic way that you copied from your competition when you first started and never went back and fixed. Now's the time to fix that. Also, go back to your previous customers. They liked you at one point, and I know some of you, maybe that's not what you do. If you're in roofing, obviously going back to a previous customer from 5 years ago, they're not ready to buy another roof, but I don't think all of you are roofers either. You have previous customers that know, like, and trust you. A, they can help drive in referrals, but B, it may be time for them to re-up, repurchase, rebuy. And when you follow up with them, just don't do it once and then be a wallflower and go away. Go through that database and really dig in and figure out how you can help these people. And yes, last but not least, stay social. Social media is, you know, it's a pro and a con. It's a double-edged sword. It can suck you in and you know, get some stuff in your head that you don't want to see or hear. But in terms of reaching your customers, they need you. They you know, whatever you're offering to them, whatever problem you solve, you got to still do that. And that's going to be the way to do it. Not on 10 different social media platforms with the 1 or 2 where your customers are, and you're going to use your own content and your own voice to talk to them. Now, your employees, how many of you have employees? I need smiles or thumbs up or nodding along or just a black screen with white letters. I bet there's stuff in the chat and I just don't see it. That's okay. Mark has employees.
The best.
The best. Marla smiles. All right. Stay in contact with your employees if you are not currently seeing them on a regular basis. Doesn't mean you have to inundate them with emails every 10 minutes, but just check in on them, call them, talk to them. And as bad as I hate to say this, there's also the opportunity of figuring out who is vital to your business, and not, you know, we're at a point where not every employee is vital to your business, or not every employee should be an employee. Maybe you could benefit from a part-time labor or part-time contract person that does what, you know, some of your folks do, but make sure you're in front of them and you talk to them and you figure out who you do and don't need. Now it's also time to cut overhead. go through your fixed expenses on a line by line basis. And this also means your personal expenses. You know, if you have, and I don't know how many Comcast reps are on the line here, but if you have satellite Comcast or whatever, and it's costing you $250 a month to watch TV, you can get that down to 50 pretty quick. Or when you get ready to take that next vacation, if you need to tighten your belt, don't tighten it at work with your marketing, your accounting expenses, which is backwards. And when I say backwards, if you're trying to grow your business, don't cut marketing. You invest more into that. I relate it to basically an cross-country trip. If I have to take a cross-country trip, and I know it's going to be a little tumultuous, I don't cut my expenses by not putting gas in the car. That won't get you very far, but that's what happens when we cut our marketing budget. And so many of my clients right now are telling me, well, we're just not spending any extra money. This isn't the extra money. The extra money is the Dasani waters that you buy instead of the Kroger ones are getting it out of the tap. The money you put into marketing makes you money. And your accounting services as well. So many CPAs are behind with their clients because their clients quit paying them. Your accounting is kind of your scorekeeping. Keep up with it. But the line by line items, you know, maybe it's time to research what you're spending on insurance, or research, you know, what subscriptions you have to what programs you may no longer be using, or what you are using that you're not utilizing fully that you need to utilize fully. Figure it out. And always pay yourself first, folks. And last but not least here, and I hope this doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, but you need to turn off the distractions. We've got more folks that have been at home for months than has like never been before. But yet when I talk to people and I ask them, did they make progress on what we discussed last, they say, nope, just too busy. Busy doing what, I ask sometimes, you know, what does your calendar look like? What do you mean busy? So first and foremost, it's time to protect your mindset, so to speak. I have a lot of clients that are not going to do anything until they find out what's going to happen either in the White House or with Congress. Folks, it doesn't matter. You need to do you. I know what happens in Washington does impact our life, but not nearly as much as how you impact it. Turn the news off. I was commenting to a friend this morning. I turned the news off years ago, but I literally got way out of it, you know, starting in March. It was overwhelming. Nothing that I was watching, reading, hearing was impacting my life to where I could fix it. It was just more noise. So I just quit. If it didn't involve SBA loans, I didn't do it anymore. I was out. And I've had friends on both of the left political spectrum and on the right, to both extremes, tell me, quote unquote, and I got text messages from both, Chuck, you're part of the problem. And yeah, that's what I was growing up, was Chuck for a period of time. I had to leave him back at MTSU in high school because he got in a little trouble. So now I'm Charles. But when they would tell me that I was part of the problem, what they meant was that I wasn't inundating myself with the news every 10 minutes and becoming upset and frustrated over things I couldn't change. Turn the news off. If you need to stay an informed citizen, find a reasonable source and then just check it once a day and you'll be fine. Quit scrolling through the phone, quit seeing what's on Facebook, quit seeing what's on Instagram. If you need to talk to a customer, get on there and do it. Otherwise, it's just nonstop noise and anger, and the world is coming to an end. Turn off the email notifications, turn off the text notifications, get into a deep work state. And that's what I've been telling folks. Identify the 2 or 3 things that can really keep you on track and create a doctor's appointment for them. Put them on your calendar and don't let anything else deviate from those 2 or 3 things that can really get you on track. We're interrupted every 3 minutes, and it takes us 20 minutes to return back to the focus state where we currently were, which means we're never focused. We're always in a distracted state. And the reason I say create a doctor's appointment, if you have a doctor's appointment and you're supposed to go to the chiropractor and your back hurts, you'll go. You won't get so busy you don't go. So block out a couple of 90-minute blocks per day, only an hour and a half, but most folks don't do it. And that will make the biggest change in your business and help you get laser focused on those new 2020 goals that you've got. All right. Well, hey, short and sweet, but to the point. That's why the TSBDC at Volunteer State Community College exists. Again, we still come out to the chamber when and if we have folks that are registered second Tuesday every month. You go online, correct, Marla? Go online, don't call Marla. Go to the Mount Juliet Chamber website and you can sign up for it there. But hey, you can still reach me through the TSBDC site, and you can still sign up for a one-on-one advising, counseling, or anything else that you need. And with that being said, I'm going to put on the old stop share, hand it back over. There we go.
Charles, or as I knew you in high school, Chuck, why don't you, you send out regular emails about your classes. I know some of them may be delayed until they can be back in person, but you have some great training classes on everything from Excel, QuickBooks, business plans. Maybe folks want to sign up and get your upcoming meeting emails. How would they do that?
Simply by signing up to, on tsbdc.org as either a client or an attendee to a workshop, and then that automatically puts them in the newsletter.
Tell you what, I appreciate getting those. I know that others would find maybe not each and every one of them, but there's a lot of them on there that everybody can really benefit at one time or another. And certainly agree with we hear that at the chamber. Right now I'm cutting back on my marketing. Not sure about that, but I think your point was well taken. Let me see if there's any questions here. Galen was asking about the sharing information about those classes. Let's see here. Also, somewhat agreeing, wanted not to cut back on our marketing classes. As you're talking to some of the small businesses out there, you get the sense that most of them are going to be able to hang on through at least the rest of the year?
Well, it just depends on who you're talking to. So yes, a lot, sadly enough, I'm discovering a lot of the smaller businesses that, have the ability to cut back or have spousal support in some way, shape, form, or fashion are doing well. I'm also sad to say, and of course, all of my clients are confidential. I've got some that are closing shop that have been around for quite some time. And I don't know what the answer to it is. I wish I did. And I've had everybody in the world invite me on to come speak and tell us what the answer is. Charles Alexander doesn't have the answer to quarantining or pandemics other than just kind of what I gave out. And I hate to say some of it is, even I say it, it just sounds and feels generic. Well, pivot. Well, think about it differently. When you're shut down, in some cases, you're shut down and you can't just magically whip up an entire new set of revenue all online. You just have to figure out what are the bare bones basics I've got to do, and then fight, like everything you've got to just get that in the door. But that last slide, I know you guys kind of feel like it's a throwaway slide about turning off the distractions, but the people I've talked to that really are shut down the distractions, and that's not Pollyannish, or it's not just, refusing to see the world for what it is. They're just not going to get it mixed up into the anger and frustration that everybody else is mounting on top of already a tough situation. They're going to give it the time, effort, and energy they need to focus in on their business and find out how to get through to, whatever it's going to be, winter, spring, 2022. I have no clue, but that's where the good stuff is buckling down and talking to the people that are looking at doing the same thing and not just over worrying all the time.
Mount Juliet had, I think in July, we had 18 new business licenses, and we still have folks joining the chamber. Most chambers do. But if I'm not mistaken, a couple of success stories that I'm familiar with of people that work with you, and I don't think I'm breaking any confidentiality rules, but they're still here, recognized his body needs in Lebanon, I believe. You might share with us that. And at one time, did you not work with Chef Christopher and his center, the Epic Center in Gallup?
Yeah, both of those, and I can talk about both of those. They've allowed me to, and they've both been a Rising Star award winner. I get to give out an award annually to my, client who's done well. And both of those, yes, Body Needs, and as well as Chef Christopher's Catering. And you could imagine, and I wouldn't be speaking out of school, both of those, those have been kind of tough businesses, especially an event center to do. And luckily they still have catering and they got creative and they've kept the doors open. And, Body Needs, same way. They've got creative, figured out what they can and can't do, and keeping the doors open. But it's difficult, for anybody that's got a storefront to figure out what that move needs to be. Now, luckily, I've seen a lot of restaurants hang in there, and they're doing 80 to 90% of what they were this time last year. I have a client of mine in Hendersonville that does a salon, a beauty salon. They're up July. Their July this year was up over last year because people were ready to get out of the house. They masked up and went full on Tyvek suit like Walter White, but they needed to get out of the house and they came to see them.
Does anybody have any questions, for Charles? He's selling himself short at the beginning when he said the information is free. I'd suggest to you that while it may not have an additional cost that comes with it, you've already paid for it in your tax dollars in some ways, and it's a resource out there that he has access to a lot of information. It's very accessible. He's been a friend of I know Mount Juliet, Lebanon Chambers of Commerce, for a long time, and as things loosen up a little bit, and we will look to maybe get back to one-on-one appointments, but it's not just for those folks that want to start a business or think about starting a business. It's also folks that are in business for themselves, who already in business. How do I grow my business? Is it time to add another product line? Am I running out of space? Help walk through some of those things, and he's there to serve you, and it's all part of the bigger picture of helping create and maintain a healthy business climate in our region. And you mentioned getting some space from Ball State, the administration at Ball State. Not only has been a great partner, but they're heavily invested now in our community, and will soon, post-pandemic things, they'll have an actual footprint, a building. Ball State's going to have a presence, a physical presence, literally just a few hundred yards down East Division Street from the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce office. They bought the land and own the land and have plans underway. So this is the beginning and middle of a long-term relationship with Ball State and Tennessee Small Business Development Center. So if there are not any other questions, I will ask Marla to include Charles's email address in the follow-up email that everybody will get that was on the call today. Just a couple of quick things. Remind you to check our calendar for upcoming programs. We've adapted about as well as we can, and have even exceeded some folks' expectations with our programs. We have young professionals. Tomorrow is leadership by the book. Got Mount Juliet Monday, Wilson Wednesday. Things are going, getting a lot of information out. Our golf tournament. I want to thank the folks at Vintage Station North. We heard from them last Friday morning about the project right across the street from the chamber, and they have stepped up in a huge way and are going to be the title sponsor at our golf tournament this year on Thursday, October the 1st. And so, again, I hope that's the beginning of a long relationship that's mutually beneficial. So we're excited to have those folks start leasing their space here about the 1st of October. And we still have a few spots left for teams, T-Box sponsors. If you and another business want to be on the same T-Box, we can work that out if you let us know ahead of time. And again, please shop local. It's probably never meant as much to the small business owners, our friends and neighbors, and investors in our community, the sponsors of our Little League teams. They donate to our um, schools. There all the time. They've been there for years. Now's a great time to get back out and help them. And we are also getting ready to kick off our magazine for 2021. Some of you know about that. They may be calling you as well. It's probably about time to redo our map as well. So lots going on. I wish I could be with each one of you and shake your hand personally and tell you thank you for your continued investment in the chamber. And don't hesitate to give us a call. Charles, Galen, Lee, and everybody else, thank you very much, and we will adjourn.
See you, folks.